So Bryan Kohberger, this trial's going to go down in August. It's happening for real. And you've got Judge Hipler, Hip, with a P, double P, it's so close, who is the new judge. And the defense attorney, Ann Taylor, yes, that's her name, is now maneuvering to suggest at trial that there were 2 assailants who killed these 4 Idaho college students within the course of what we believe is 12 to 17 minutes, 22 at the outside, but more like 12 minutes, that 2 men went into that Idaho house that night and killed Kaylee Gonsalves and Maddie Mogan and Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle, not Bryan Kohberger, who was a student at University of Washington and a TA getting his PhD in criminology. Here's a little bit of Ann Taylor talking about the expert witness she's going to put on to that effect, or wants to put on.
Didn't you produce an expert who said that that it would have required 2 people to commit the crime?
Your Honor, we have produced an expert that believes that it's likely that there were 2 people, 2 weapons.
And she goes on to say, we came across a tip that would appear to be an alternate suspect. We're trying to work through that as rapidly as we can. And Judge Hipler said he would set a May deadline for the defense to present evidence of an alternate suspect. So why are they doing that? Why is she showing them? You know, I'm on a Michael Connelly tear right now, reading all of his legal thrillers. The defense, aren't they supposed to surprise the prosecution with something like this? You have to disclose every card you're going to play at trial?
Sometimes you do, Megyn. I mean, something like when it comes to experts, especially when it comes to experts, you have to. In New York, there's a very strict requirement because you play the game of the experts. You got to let them know who your expert is and give them an offer of proof, basically about what they're going to testify, and then they get to go get their own expert to contradict what your expert is saying. I mean, it usually doesn't hold true for private investigators, but if you're introducing a whole new theory to the case, you may not be obligated under the law to do that, but a judge usually doesn't like to get caught, by surprise. So I don't know if that particular jurisdiction. I could tell you, for an alibi witness, if you're in New York, if you're saying my guy wasn't at the scene, he was in Rhode Island at the time that it took place,
which she is.
There's a certain amount of time where you have to say my client was not there and they were elsewhere. Because
she alleged he was out stargazing that night. It was just a lovely night for stargazing, and that was their, quote, alibi. Here's the other point on this case, Mark. The defense moved to bar the prosecution from using the terms psychopath and sociopath before the jurors. They actually also didn't want the prosecution to use the term murderer. The judge left open the possibility that the prosecution could use the word murderer during closing arguments, but I think is still considering on psychopath or sociopath. But what kind of motion is this? Since when can the prosecution not say, he's a murderer? That's what we're all doing here.
Okay, so this is, you have to imagine he's going to be convicted, and then there's going to be always an attack on what the lawyers could have or should have done. And also the lawyers want to win. So there's no harm, and don't take offense, with lawyers filing motions and for the judge to consider it. Calling him a murderer, I would argue, is unfair until and unless closing argument occurs, when they then have proven that he did commit murder. That's number one. The other thing, sociopath, psychopath, any words they want to come up with, if that's not proven, if that hasn't ever been proven as a fact, it would be unfair, one would argue. Jurors would think that if those terms apply to him, it's more likely that he is a murderer. So I know why the defense would not want those things heard. And if there's not evidence to support it, the judge shouldn't let it in.
It's just
I keep thinking, Arthur, of the movie Jagged Edge, right? It was one of the greatest legal thrillers ever. You guys remember that movie? So good. If the listening audience hasn't seen that. With Glenn Close, right, and Jeff Bridges, so good. And in the closing argument, and I won't get into exactly all of it, but in the closing argument, there's that great lawyer, and he said, something to the effect of, he's a sociopath. He is an Iceman. And I was like, oh, right? So like, I think that's how it went down. I might have been saying it out of court. But my point is simply,
Megyn.
prosecutors make these arguments. I would be happy and fine as a prosecutor out there saying, he's a sociopath. He went into that house and took the lives of 4. Why couldn't you argue that?
Well, first of all, the judge has ruled in this case that it will give them leeway in their closing arguments, but that's prejudicial and conclusory statements by the prosecutor. It's the jury's job to determine whether he's a murderer. Like in the Harvey Weinstein case, I'm objecting to them calling these women victims.
You lost touch with your prosecutor roots. Both of you people.
Say it again. I didn't hear you, Megyn.
You got to be able to. I totally disagree. You can argue the same. You can say he is a sociopath. He has no feelings about taking the lives of others.
Megyn, you can't.
Hold on.
Marco, back me up. Marco, back me up. The judge ruled properly here. A prosecutor cannot call a defendant a sociopath. That's almost reversible error. You
in a closing argument,
you're testifying.
Megyn, because it's not an opinion. You are to be a sociopath or a psychopath. There has to be proof, meaning someone analyzed him. That wasn't done.
What do you
so that's
mean?
such a prejudicial term.
I really disagree. I think if you can prove that this guy took the lives of 4 college students in 12 minutes single-handedly with a serrated edge knife, and then walked out and went home and took a selfie of himself with his little white shirt on and a thumbs up, it's fair to say he's a murderer. He's a sociopath. Don't let him walk the streets.
Murderer, yes, in closing, once it's been proven that he has no feelings, that all the things that you said, except for that term, which there's been no evidence, it's conclusory, there's no expert testimony of that.
The same
way, it's the law, Megyn. It's the law. I forget if I was a prosecutor for 5 years.
I know, it's been too long.
As a prosecutor.
You went too native on the defense attorney years. Okay, let's move on.
Megyn,
I actually don't
know.
You're probably right, but I think it's stupid.
We'll try it twice. We'll do it your way, and then the next time when they reverse it, we'll come back and do it our way.
We definitely don't want that. Tariff wars, stubborn inflation, no wonder gold has been routinely hitting all-time highs. In volatile markets like the one we have now, don't sit on the sidelines with your head in the sand. You can take control and safeguard your savings now. This is why so many Americans today are turning to Birch Gold Group. They've helped tens of thousands convert an existing IRA or 401k into one in physical gold. Is it time for you to hedge against economic instability with gold? To learn how to own physical gold in a tax-sheltered account, text MK to 989898. Birch Gold will send you a free, no-obligation info kit. Again, text MK to the number 989898. A-plus rating with a Better Business Bureau, countless 5-star reviews. Birch Gold has helped so many. It took us decades to get into the tangled mess we're in right now. How long to get out of it? Text MK to 989898 today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.